Hello, and welcome to the weekly broadcast of Strategic Speaking for Results. I'm Elizabeth Bachman, your host, and today I'm thinking about why is it that women don't invest in themselves? Recently, I hired a coach for a specific project in my company because I knew I had lost perspective. I was too close to the material, and I knew I really needed to have fresh eyes and fresh brains to tackle the project. But it was expensive. My head knew that this was an investment in my success in the next step for my company, but all those voices in my head were saying, how could you spend that money? What if there's nothing else? What if this, what if that? All the things all the reasons why I shouldn't have spent the money. And that got me thinking, what is it in our society or the way we are socialized as children that prevents women from investing in their own development? You see it all the time. Men will say, yes, they'll invest, they do the work, they get the rewards. Women say, oh, I need help. But when it actually comes to paying for something, for investing in themselves, they go, oh, I don't know if I should. They waffle, they go back and forth. And then, and maybe they never take the plunge. This reminds me of when I was a kid and I was learning how to dive off of a high platform into the lake below. And I was terrified. I looked down at that water and all I could hear were the voices in the back of my head telling me all the ways I was going to die when I hit the water. I would come up to the edge and I'd go back. I'd come up to the edge and I'd go back. It wasn't until a friend took my hand and jumped with me that I was able to do it. And then once I had, it was no big deal. It just the worrying about what might happen. Well, hiring this coach this week was like being on that high platform. So why don't women invest in their own development? I Googled the question and there were 94 million answers. It's a well-known phenomenon. I don't think it's anybody's fault. I think it's the way that society teaches boys to be brave and to try something, try something. If you fall down, pick yourself up and just keep going again. Where girls are told, be careful, watch out, don't get your clothes dirty. So society teaches us to be careful, teaches girls it's selfish to invest in yourself, although spending money on someone else is okay. Or maybe it's a scarcity mindset. What if it's a mistake? We've all invested in programs and education that didn't work. Although, come to think of it, I don't know how many of you are like me who invested in programs and they didn't deliver because I didn't do the work. Ask yourself how often you've done that. We've all done it. Or maybe you think it'll take too much time. And the truth is, we're all busy all the time. We're all overwhelmed. And for all the work that I do trying to be more efficient, I'm still never at the end of my to-do list. The truth is, though, that successful people put their own masks on first. They take care of their development so that they can help others. It's not selfish to do your meditation if that's going to make you feel good. It's not selfish to take time to work with a coach or with a therapist, or taking time to write and think about your long-term success instead of your short-term success. And the other thing is that women are often told that you have to do everything yourself. Don't ask for help. But when you ask for help, often a partner or an ally can help you figure out something that you could delegate, a task that you don't necessarily have to do which would then free up the time. So here are some specific strategies that you can do. First of all, recognize what you're afraid of. Awareness is everything. Get out of the cycle of what ifs and write down what you're afraid of. Then, second, make a list of the pros and cons. What's the absolute best that can happen and what's the worst? Often the worst that can happen is that nothing changes and 6 months from now you're right where you were before. And then talk about it. Because our brains are wired for negativity, we will always be able to come up with lots of scenarios of what happens if it goes badly. We might have a hard time thinking about what happens if it works. What if it's a success? What if this gives you what you need? For me, I have to talk to somebody else. Talk to a trusted friend or a spouse or a family member and have them help you look at it objectively, your pros and cons list. Remember, self-doubt always comes up when you're trying something new. It's our cultural conditioning to try to keep us safe. Then, after you've made the list of the good and the bad, the best possible idea and the worst possible idea, do your due diligence and make a choice. Make an informed choice from your head. Trust your gut, but don't listen to the voices that are trying to keep you small. If you've got any questions about this subject, please contact me. I'd be happy to talk to you. Oh, and by the way, that investment I made in my business, it's paying off. I dove off into the unknown and that coach caught me. I'm on track to earn 10 times what I invested. It's worth it to invest in yourself.